Hello. Ni howdy, my friends, my enemies, my viewers, my audience. How are you? It's Monday. It's been a shitty weekend, frankly. We're going to talk about it. We are going to discuss some of the responses to what happened over the weekend. And we're going to kind of dive in a little bit to where we are in this country in regards to violence. A lot to talk about. There's a lot to go over, but this is also going to be call-ins. So, if you'd like, there's a way, dear viewer, that you can call in. I will give you the link in both YouTube and Discord. You click that link. You accept the rules. You go to the rules page. You'll see my face right there, like a little face emoji. After you read the rules, you click on my face emoji to accept them. You'll be able to see all the channels. At the top will be backstage. Jump backstage. And, yeah. I'll call you in and pull you in when we're ready. I hope Kinetic Pause hopes that some entertaining or interesting callers call in. I hope so too. Audacity says Venus. Yeah, okay. KO Dave. Yo, what up? See her says always trouble with co-hosts and panelists. True. Not always, but sometimes. Charlie's on her way. She just DM'd me desperately. Okay. I won't repeat what she said. Mainly because it was a string of almost nonsense letters and numbers, but it was clear. It was a panic type. But she'll be here in a second. Do not worry, Sean Dixon says, and then you get banned for no reason. Yeah, nice. Are you still complaining? I'll unban you in a week or two. Calm down, Sean. Coffee Margin says you got to be gentle. Oh, true. Esoteric dichotomy. Hello. Welcome to the show. Let me make sure everyone's good to go on that end. So I also just found out, right before I went live, something that's been going on with regards to the LDS shooting. And we're going to talk about that too, because I think that's equally important. Well, maybe not equally, but it bothers me, okay? But first, let's get our erstwhile co-host, Charlie. How you doing, Charlie?
Hello. Sorry, I was making a little bit of breakfast.
Oh, what you eating? What you got?
I'm eating kashi cereal with blueberry and raspberry.
Yum. That sounds good. Good. Take your time. Take a minute, right? I'm just kind of telling everyone what we have in store for the show today. There's a lot to talk about. And so yeah, once you're ready, just hop on camera and we'll start this
All right.
start this show. Sean Dixon, before his message got deleted, says I don't deserve him and he won't be back. Okay. See you later. Zephyr Hash for $5 says the Trump tariffs have brought violence back to America. Violas are next. Oh, violins back to America. Violas are next. Thank you for your attention to this minor. I'm very curious if that's true. Is that true? Maybe. But we probably won't talk too much about the tariffs today unless someone calls in about it, right? What I want to talk about, so Charlie, did you see the shootings that happened over the weekend?
I heard about the one in Michigan. It was like that white guy in camo who he shot up a church, a Mormon church, I believe.
Yeah. It was pretty bad. He set it on fire. It burned down.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. 5 dead, I believe. 8 wounded. Maybe I might have my numbers mixed up on that area. He was shot. Mixed reporting. Some say it was by the police. Some say it was by one of the members of the church. I'm not sure. But one of the things that has been going on with that specific shooting. So first of all, it wasn't the only mass shooting that day. There was another one in North
In North
Carolina.
Carolina, right?
Yeah, where I guess a guy went to a restaurant or drove by a restaurant on a boat and shot a bunch of people, killed 3.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And so
What the hell for?
good question. What the hell for? Good question. We don't know. There is some evidence of why the LDS shooter, right, the guy who shot up the church, did it. We're going to read some of that. We're going to look at some of that.
Oh, was it revenge for Charlie Kirk?
That's not something I've seen. It might be, but he was very anti-Mormon. There was a politician who canvassed and talked to him fairly recently, and the guy said a lot of really anti-Mormon stuff, which makes sense considering his target, right? That he would probably be anti-Mormon, right? That tracks.
Yeah, but what the fuck is the Mormon? Like, yeah, it's annoying when they show up at your house and they, try to convince you to be Mormon, but they're kind of harmless.
You know what? That's true, but there are a lot of very religious people who think that Mormonism is Satanism, right? They think it's a cult, that they're the Antichrist. This is something that they've
culty for sure,
thought for a long but this is something they thought for a long time. If you aren't familiar with Mormon history, it wasn't peaceful. They didn't go to Utah because they wanted to. They went to Utah because the people in the States killed them until they did. They drove them out with one of the sword and gun from town to town to town until eventually they were kicked out entirely of the country, had to go start their own, basically, in Utah.
Jesus Christ.
They had a lot of animosity towards the United States for a while. There was some minor skirmishes and conflicts between the Mormons and the U.S. militia, right, the U.S. Army, until they became a state. I forget exactly when, but it was bloody history. Okay,
that's insane. So the Mormons were squaring up against the U.S. militia. That's
the U.S. government. Mm-hmm. They had a little.
That's kind of hilarious.
A little bit of a couple tense. I don't think there was ever like a battle, right? But there's some tense issues and things like that. It was a fraught time. We should look it up. It's interesting. It's interesting to see how everyone kind of dealt with that. But I say all this to say that there's been a long history of especially religious people in the United States who see Mormons as an existential threat, like who see them as evil, like Satanists. And unfortunately, in this case, it manifested in this guy doing what he did. So that's what seems to be the most likely motivation, is this guy thought that the Mormons were Satanists, the Antichrists, and he went and he killed a bunch. So crazy times. But you know what else happened that was kind of interesting after this?
What's that? What happened?
So when the shooting first started, okay, and we were looking at who did it, why, etc., pictures started coming out of the shooter's truck. Immediately, people were saying, that's Photoshop, that's not real. Immediately, there were people on the right who were saying, because the truck had American flags on it, right? And it looked pretty MAGA, if you will, right? A lot of people were, no, that's from another shooting. Oh, no, that's not a real photo. They flooded the zone with these comments. Now, in other photos of the church, the truck's still there. It wasn't photoshopped, right? It was obviously real. But there's still people today who will say that's photoshopped. Another thing that happened is when they found out who the shooter was, people scoured his socials, as they usually do. On his Facebook, there's a picture of him wearing a Trump shirt, like a Make Liberals Cry Again shirt with Trump 2020, I believe, or something. This was years ago. A lot of people went, or not, I won't say, someone went and photoshopped the logo on his shirt out and then started spamming, and a lot of people picked it up that, oh, the one with the Trump logo, that was photoshopped, and here's the real one. So they were saying, the claim was, that the left photoshopped the Trump stuff into his shirt to blame MAGA. Now, if you go to his Facebook page, which you can, because it's not down, you can see 6 years ago, the picture, he's wearing the shirt with the logo. The reason that I'm bringing this up is because there is a concerted effort by subsets of the right, and we saw this during the Hortman shooting too, right? That will lie, deny, and deflect anything to make it so it's not one of them, that it was some lefty, right? Or the left is lying about it. Now, again, I don't know, and I've seen no evidence that him being a Trump supporter had anything to do with this shooting. I don't know. Who knows, right? It's so early.
Yeah.
We just don't have that information. But what bothers me about this is the amount of just wholesale lies that people will go through to pretend that to erase any sort of evidence that it might be on the right. And we're going to look at some of those now here. And so if you can, I'm going to share my screen, and then we'll take callers in a second. Don't worry, guys. But I want to get...
it's like with the anti-ICE shooting, which just ended up being like the guy was like a 4chan nihilist or something.
Yeah, it's not only will they lie to deny and to deflect, but they will try their best to paint it as someone on the left, even if it's someone that's either only tertiary on the left or it's not clear who they support. But here's the doctored one here, and here's the real one. Okay, and a lot of people are going around posting that, oh no, this is the obvious real one, and can't you see this is the fake one? And again, just so we know, you can go on the guy's Facebook and you can look. Here's a post from
Brantley. Brantley is the name of their child. Yeah, that's right wing. That is not. That's Republican naming. Republican naming conventions.
I don't know about any of that, but it's just real clear that it's the same photo. This is the original photo. This is on the Facebook. Unless they went back in time somehow to 2019, right, and planned this 6 years ago. It's crazy. It's just crazy how many people have taken up this delusion, right? This lie, this obvious lie, and pushed it, right? Again, people were saying this truck wasn't the real truck, that it was photoshopped, that it was from another shooting. This is from the day of the attack, right? This is from the church that burnt down, right? And you can see this in other photos and aerial photos and things like that. It's this constant stream of misinformation and lies by the right, painted to show, just to obfuscate any amount of truth-telling in this. Now, the left does this too. Of course. To some extent, right? We've seen it. It happens. We can see the Photoshop of the guy wearing the Trump shirt, or he wasn't wearing a Trump shirt, but they Photoshopped a Trump shirt on him. What was that guy's name? The guy who killed Kirk, Tony Robinson?
Tyler Robinson.
Tyler, thank you. Tyler Robinson. F the spit gang. He's a monster. But on it, like the left photoshopped like a Trump 2024 shirt on him to make him look like a groyper. Again, you could go back and look at the original photos, and you can see that wasn't true. But it's just this constant stream of misinformation that gets into the zeitgeist, right? It gets out into the discourse. And now even though it's, again, we've shown that the original photo was the one with the Trump shirt, there's people who will come into my comment section who will, again, maybe even call in and saying, no, that's the photoshopped one, and the real one is him just wearing a camo shirt. And again, these people know they are lying, and they continue to lie about it. So again, a series of photos here. This account, it's been less than 24 hours. The church is still smoldering, and you're posting Photoshop pictures of the shooter in an attempt to score political points on the VP. Again, he's quote tweeting Representative Eric Swalwell and pretending this was photoshopped, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he's called out on this, right? Someone's like, haven't followed this much. Is the OG picture just a camo shirt? Again, and he shares the photoshopped one. Someone calls out on him, links to the Facebook, and he makes like a little meme, like, like a little, look, I know I'm spreading misinformation, but
What the fuck?
I don't give a shit. Because they don't give a shit. They will simply lie to you over and over and over again, pretend that you're the ones lying to them, and this is what we get. It's insane. And it bothered me enough that I wanted to start off today's segment going over this, showcasing people, giving you time to eat so you're not munching while we're taking call-ins, right? But
I'm almost done.
It's all good.
Sorry.
We still got, like, here's another account that, again, claims it was photoshopped and is just posting it. And these people have, like, hundreds and thousands of followers, right? And they're just spreading this lie. Here's a lady from Michigan, I checked, claiming that this guy went into her store with this shirt a few times. Is that true? I don't know, but it's from Michigan, and it tracks with the evidence that we have. And again, this person deleted it, right? But I like this account, by the way. This account is a really good account. The FBI spokesperson shared the photoshopped image and claimed it was a real one, like a spokesperson of the FBI.
That's something that bothers me too, is that I don't appreciate how unprofessional the FBI seems to be now. Like they are sharing images and theories and information long before they get confirmation, and I don't think that that's okay. It's like, I also think it can kind of potentially like muddy the waters when they actually try to press charges.
Yeah, it makes it harder to convict in a lot of cases, right?
Yeah.
That's why they didn't before this, right? Before we got a social media administration, they would pretty much stay out of it. Not entirely, right? But they would pretty much kind of keep silent on these things, not share too much information publicly, not comment too much publicly, and then present their evidence at trial so it could do the most good, right? And they wouldn't have any kind of ways for the defense lawyers to kind of spin it or play that they've been messing with the evidence or anything like that. So, and again,
I mean, Luigi might walk free because of I don't think it was the FBI that did this, but a lot of God, I think who's the mayor of New York right now? Eric Adams or something?
Yes.
Like that perp walk that he had Mangione do. Like just shit like that. It could end up getting really messy.
I don't think it'll make him walk, but it makes it harder to actually prosecute these crimes. $10 from Alexander Wrin to say you have podcasters running the FBI and defense. I mean, yeah, look, it's all amateur hour.
Yeah.
These things. Since you're still nomming a bit, let's go.
I'm good. I have eaten. I have my coffee out. Sorry, Wick.
You're fine. Again, I want to make it very clear. The Mormon church shooter, we don't know why he did it. The evidence seems to suggest it was, and I mean, this might be obvious, right? But it was some sort of anti-Mormon animus that drove him to kill the Mormons, right? Shocker. Other than that, we have no real information, no solid information on if this guy had any extra motivation on top of that. I don't know. I don't know what drove him to it. I don't know what was the final straw or whatever. But whatever it was, he snapped and he did this horrific act. I wish I could trust some of the reporting I've seen on this, like, because there's been people who claimed that he said a few things that were political in nature, but I don't trust them because too many people lie. Too many people are spreading, like the sources they use weren't good sources, right? I couldn't confirm that this is an actual report, right? So I haven't talked about those. I haven't quoted those. I haven't really discussed those at all. But I just want to say, I wish we lived in a world where I could trust that the people reporting on these things weren't just trying to spin it one way or the other. So
I guess that's just the nature of the news in general, though. But I will agree that it's, social media has made it so much more egregious.
Yeah.
Because you get money. You get money from clicks and lying.
Unfortunately, yes. But at this point then, since I've given my screen, okay, we're gonna do call-ins. You can call in about whatever you like. I put the link to the Discord in the YouTube channel. I pinned it, and I put it on the Discord. You can or not the Discord, I'm sorry, the Twitch. You can just click on the link on Twitch that I just put there. Jump backstage, and when it's time, we'll pull you in. Yeah, and we'll talk about whatever you like. But I want to focus today on the epidemic of violence that we're seeing in America. So let's see. You're live. Welcome, first caller.
Hey, man.
Hey.
Hey, how you feeling?
Not good, but how are you?
Not good. Something happened?
Church got shut up.
True. Well, hey, big win for the Democrats. They're getting balance back, right?
No.
No, that's not how anyone.
I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you. Now, I mean, this is this dude was a right winger. There's no getting around that. I think we're reaching the point of starting to see some of the emboldened retaliatory kind of demeanor with this pendulum kind of starting to swing back from the right wingers a little bit here.
Yeah, but just real quick on this, like, I don't see any evidence, and it might exist. I just haven't seen it, right? That this guy was motivated by any kind of political animus, right?
No, well, I think he's motivated by the Kirk killing. He's probably. I did a little research on the church too. They're like a Mormon church, pro LGBT crap kind of thing as well.
Pro LGBT Mormon church.
Yeah, one
That's
of those
rare.
Progressive. I know, right?
Well, hold on. Outside of Utah, it's not very rare.
Double check me on that, though.
Look, maybe you guys don't know because you didn't grow up Mormon like I did, right? But there's Utah Mormons, and then there's other Mormons, right? And they are not the same. They follow the same teachings, they have the same scriptures and things like that, but you can tell a Utah Mormon
infighting
from a normal Mormon. I don't want to say normal.
I did grow up like with some Mormons at my school, and I did have a Mormon friend who was like gay.
Yeah, and to be clear, they're not pro-LGBT like you would think of, like in a progressive sense. But a lot of them would just say, well, it's like smoking. Everyone, you shouldn't smoke either, but we're not going to kick you out for it, right? Which is, as pro as you're going to be.
Better. It's better than, die homosexuals.
Yeah, I guess it is better than that. True.
Yes.
Charlie with the hot takes today on our call-in show.
Yeah, right. But no, it's like, it's probably not expressly political towards, right wing or whatever, but it is socio-political motivated, if anything.
Sure.
And you're absolutely within your means to hold the position that we don't know everything yet, and we probably never will because he's dead. So I'm on the broad face of it. I'm seeing you got that one guy who got arrested by the FBI. You got this guy who blew up this church. I'm just seeing that. I think the pattern of behavior is starting to develop. That the retaliatory stuff is going to start coming out.
Well, we'll see. Is there anything else you want to ask Charlie, or anything in general you want to talk about? Are you good?
Nah, I gotta get going. Baby just woke up, so we'll see you later.
Have a good day. To the void. Like,
Well,
I really
I
don't.
forgot that people on the internet have babies.
I'm crazy. I know. It happens.
Insane. Wait, so Wick, you were raised Mormon?
I was. Yes, I was a
Oh,
Mormon
okay.
until. Well, I'm still technically a Mormon, right? I'm just inactive, or less active, as I'd like to say.
Mm.
But yeah, it's I went on a mission and everything. I went and knocked doors.
Where did you go on
New
your
Jersey. Okay. Yeah, it's crazy, right? But it was fun. I'm glad I did. It really helped me learn how to socialize, how to talk to people, how to cold approach, right? It really helped me with women too, unironically, right? But you know,
how to talk to ladies.
Yeah, just go up to people in general and start talking to them, right? A lot of guys don't know that. A lot of people. A lot of my younger friends won't call anyone anymore. Like, they won't call businesses to find out when a movie's playing or when they're open and things like that. I remember distinctly being in my car and we're driving to some gaming shop, okay? And it's early and I want to make sure it's open before we get there. And if it's not, we're going to go do something else until it gets open, right? Because we want to play our games. And so I asked the guy who was in the back, right? I'm like, hey, can you call and can you see if they're open? Guy refused. A grown-ass man, like, we weren't in high school or anything. We were like, this is in the military, right? So he was someone who was out of his parents' house and living his life as an adult, refused to call the store to see if they were open because he was too scared to talk on the phone. Insane to me.
And man, I don't like to talk on the phone, but that's weird. To be scared to do it is so strange.
He fought me on it too, right? Like, he refused. He's like, well, why don't you pull over and call him yourself? Because I'm driving, bitch. I'm trying to get there, right? It was about 10, 20 minutes away. It was insane. I don't understand. Whatever. I have strong thoughts. We got a bunch of people. Let's bring them in. Hi, you're live. You're muted on your end.
Yeah, I was turning off your stream.
All good. What do you got for us?
Pretty crazy week, huh?
Unfortunately, yes.
I wanted to talk about you, about your was it a debate? Not specifically about you, the debate you had yesterday. Did you have it yesterday? Oh,
I didn't stream yesterday.
My bad. Then
are you talking about Friday's show or Thursday's show?
I think I was watching VOD. You were talking to two conservatives. I forgot you and Not So Erudite.
Oh, are you talking about our show with Political Math? It was me, Eucharist, Political Math, and Not So Erudite.
Exactly, that one. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
VODs and I ended up watching it yesterday, so I got
and to be clear, it wasn't a debate. I didn't want to debate. I didn't bring him on to debate. I went to have a conversation with them and to kind of figure out, like, what I wanted to do is have a conversation on how we can how we can see each other as people again, right? And stop seeing each other as mortal enemies. So it wasn't a debate, but go ahead.
Sure. Maybe I used the wrong word there then.
You're fine. I just want to make it clear. Yeah.
I guess throughout it, I was a little I'd say frustrated watching. I saw, this is maybe what I saw, maybe I'm biased, right? I saw you and I saw Erudite gave a lot of concessions on things that, the left has some problems. We have a lot of problems internally. There's a lot of things that we need to fix. There's a lot of things that we need to address. And there's a lot of things that you and Erudite sacrifice a lot, right? You could be much bigger and have much larger influence and get a lot less shit. But you refuse to do that because you stand on principles and you recognize that doing these things isn't good for the health of the country, right? Isn't good for the political movement. It's good for you because it gives you money and engagement. But it's a sacrifice that you are willing to make. And I feel then that, I forgot the other guy, not Eucharist.
Political math, polymath.
Yeah.
Matt
Polymath.
is his name.
Math, yeah. I felt like he didn't really make any concessions, I guess. I'm trying to think of like.
Well, that was the frustration of Erudite and me, to be clear, that it became clear that he felt like he couldn't move at all towards us, because he said he would lose his influence. And he said that pretty clearly, that if he were to say on my show that he'd vote for a Democrat in the midterms, because we both agreed, right? We both agreed that Trump needs to be stopped, right? We did get that concession out of him, that Trump needs to be stopped. He's going too far.
Sure.
Someone needs to stop him.
Yeah, but then he asked, like, how do you do that? You say vote for a Democrat, right?
Yes.
But then he was very unwilling, I guess, to even give that.
He was.
Like,
and until the end, and we got to give him his flowers.
Sure, yeah,
here.
Josh Shapiro.
Yeah. Josh Shapiro is someone he said he would vote for, and who was a Democrat in the 2028 election. So that's good, at least.
Sure.
Right?
That's good. I also, I guess, I wanted to not to imply that he is doing this. By the way, this is gonna sound weird because you just brought this up about that discussion that you had, but you just in this stream we were talking about how there are people that are literally like going out and engaging in bad faith, and they know they're doing it and they're lying in purpose, right?
Yes.
And I guess it's kind of like a fucking a kind of a nothing burger question, or like too broad. But how do you even deal with that, right? How do you address people that just go and lie and they know they're lying and they don't care?
Charlie, you want to take this one?
I mean, I think just like call them out on their shit as much as possible. But to be honest, at some point you have to realize that there's a lot of people out there who are not interested in truth. They're interested in confirming, their beliefs. And I think it's a matter of trying to suss. You should publicly, support the facts. But I think on a one-on-one basis, you have to make sure that the person that you're trying to work on is someone who is actually capable of living in reality and making concessions. And it sounds like Wick and Erudite worked on, what was it, political math?
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, this wasn't a show where we were going to convert anyone, right? We were just trying to, with all the tensions in the United States, I wanted to cool down period to say, hey, we disagree, but you're still human, and you think we're human too, right? And can we start there? So again, not a debate. I wasn't there to convert him. We obviously did talk about like political things, and there was tension there, but that wasn't the point of the conversation.
Yeah, my bad. I should have fucking yeah. I guess
anything else?
It's something I've been radicalized on recently, and the word radicalized is a little bit scary, but I feel like just social media has truly like fucking destroyed the brain, I feel, of humans. Not even then, like for the first like formative years, where you still had like some primitive forms of social media, it was still possible, but it feels like recently with like fucking short-term content and like algorithms, it just feels like it is impossible to have any sort of like discussion or have any sort of debate, any sort of like, I don't know, it just feels very, 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 very fucked.
It's not impossible, but it is much harder, and our attention spans are getting less and less. But one last thing that we got to cycle out, because we got a bit of a line.
Sure. Okay. People have always been really fucking stupid. People have always engaged in bad faith throughout history. There's always the case of people being bad faith, being stupid, and just like lying in purpose. It feels like recently that has been amplified a lot. I feel like it's because of social media, and I don't know how to solve it outside of some like extremely authoritarian regulation.
Yeah,
I guess.
I don't know how to deal with it either, man. I don't know the solution either. It's fucked. But thank you for calling in. I do appreciate the questions.
Yep.
I do appreciate the discussion. Sorry we have to make it short, but I want to make sure we get to as many people as we can. So talk to you later, buddy. Okay. Hello, you're live.
regulate social media in a way that doesn't infringe on free speech. But anyway,
Yeah,
this
no,
is
that's
new
well, that's the
person.
trick, right? Like
Yeah.
any kind of mechanism or rule you might make to curtail social media might be applied to other media that we don't want it to, and how do we fix that? But Chrissy, you're muted on your end, so unmute yourself and then you can talk to us.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. What do you got?
Okay. I'm on my phone, so I wasn't sure. So I watched your video from Friday with Erudite and Matt and what is the other guy's name? Eucharist.
Eucharist, yes.
So I was watching this, and a few things really kind of stood out to me that I thought were worth kind of talking about. And one of the things is that there is this misconception that every like institution, business, everything is like left leaning in some way. And this got brought up fairly early when Erudite came on, that oh well, it's unfriendly for right-leaning people to discuss their political ideas at businesses or at college or whatever they feel uncomfortable, because it's a left-leaning controlled organization. And something that I've realized is that this is an illusion with how people perceive things, because most of these people that discuss this online, that discuss that specific thing, they're in something of a bubble, because most of them are moderately influential, moderately well-to-do, probably went to college and at a larger college or something like that. And almost all of those institutions are in liberal-dominated areas. They're in urban areas, they're in liberal-dominated states, et cetera, et cetera. And there's another side to that where people don't ever talk about all of the other institutions. I've lived in seven states: California, North Carolina, Louisiana, Colorado, Nebraska, Georgia, and my brain stopped.
It's okay. We believe you, right? 7 states. Give us what you got.
There's a range of different political views there, of course. Some are more left leaning, some are more right leaning, and in rural areas, people don't travel. If they go to college, if they go to things like that, generally speaking, they're going to community colleges, and they're getting fairly local jobs in rural areas. And those are all right-leaning institutions. All of them. If you go to a college, if you go to a community college in a rural area, it's going to be a left-leaning. It's not going to be a left-leaning institution. It's just not.
Mm-hmm.
I went to college in a small town, community college in a small town, fairly small, like 10,000 people.
Yeah, no, I
and
get what you're saying. Like, I remember being in certain places where if I were to say I voted Democrat, it would feel uncomfortable. It would immediately become a fight with people. And I'm not talking like a fist fight, right? But like an argument, right? There are...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I do agree with you that outside of liberal-dominated institutions such as like colleges and things like that, there are a lot of... If you are... I'll say it this way. If you are in an area that differs severely from you politically, whether that be left or right, you are going to self-censor. You shouldn't, but you're going to, because it's going to be very uncomfortable for you to share your actual beliefs. A lot of people on the right think that is solely something that happens to them, but I promise you, it is not. Right? You go to you go to any kind of right-leaning institution or right-leaning community, and you start talking about social justice. You start talking about gender identity. You start talking about Clinton. You start talking about any sort of Democrat in a positive light, you're going to have problems.
And I mean, like, okay, so currently I live in Nebraska.
Okay.
It's a very, very right leaning state. The only place in the entirety of Nebraska that wins a blue district is Lincoln and Omaha. That's it. Everything else is red. And I've always been an independent. I was libertarian for a number of years, and I was really, in recent years, been very, very hugely disappointed with libertarians, and I thought they were just basically Republican shills. But so, like, just a little bit of personal experience. My roommate is transgender. I'm transgender.
Okay.
I already had a job when I started to come out, and so I was somewhat safe, and it was a job that I kind of sort of relied on nepotism to keep because my dad works for the company. But my roommate, it took nearly 2 years to find a job. And this was, of course, before I came out, and friends that worked at other places had told me, "Oh, well, they're not going to hire them because they're trans," and so the domination of the spectrum in these rural areas is a lot more severe, because if you are LGBT, if you are um, like progressive and you express those ideas at all, you might just not have a job. You might never get hired if you express those ideas. You might get blackballed in whole town. You know what I mean?
You got anything? You got anything for that, Charlie? Anything you want to share on this one?
I mean, I definitely agree on the self-censorship. I grew up in a red county in California. Those do exist. And you may as well be in the deep south if you're in one. And I did have to self-censor a lot. And I do agree that if you're trying to get like a job in a red county anywhere, being trans or LGBT is it's a lot more difficult. However, when I've only ever worked in blue counties. So I guess I can't really relate on that front. I made an effort to not live in red areas, which I was lucky enough to be able to do. But yeah, a lot of places I do think see trans people as like risk, essentially, like they're a risk to the company in some capacity,
Well, yeah,
visually
it's
or
kind of an HR liability in some fashion. It's a headache for HR, and people don't want to deal with it. Is what a lot of it comes down to, in my experience.
yeah,
Um,
which is shitty. I think it's shitty
and
that they
it is.
yeah.
I think the reason why I thought this was important to bring up is because I see over and over and over and over and over and over again that people let this narrative continue in these online spaces. They let this narrative continue that, oh, the left controls all the institutions, the left controls all of the education, and that's not true. The reality is most right-leaning people, generally speaking, the vast majority of them are from more rural areas, and they aren't going to there's going to be significantly less of them going to liberal institutions that are in more liberal areas because A, they have to move or travel to do so, and B, they're much more likely to go to something like community college or trade school or something like that to
Yeah.
get a job
I get
in
what
their
you're saying.
community.
I understand. We don't have too much time, unfortunately, but I'll leave you with this, and then you can respond if you like. But while, yes, everything you said is correct. It's true, right? If you live in a more right-leaning area and you're more left-wing, you're going to feel the need to tamp down on it, and vice versa. If you were a right-leaning person in a more left-leaning area, you're going to feel the need to kind of shut up about a few things. That's just how it is, unfortunately. But I will say that at least in the 2010s and the early 2020s, the social media sphere was dominated by a lot of left-leaning kind of cancel mobs. That did happen.
That is true.
That
Yeah.
did happen. And so this transcended where you lived, and suddenly people were calling your employer because you said something fairly mild about George Floyd. That did happen. And so I don't know.
Not even just that. Not to just to hop in. Sorry,
Go ahead. No,
I was
please.
forged in the fires of Tumblr fandom. A friend of mine, for shipping. Do you guys remember Voltron? That fucking cartoon TV show on
Yes,
Netflix
I
that came
remember
out in the
Voltron.
late 2010s. He shipped 2 characters that people didn't like, and he got doxxed, and his entire family got doxxed. I had a friend in high school who called this person's work because this person would erotic roleplay Transformers on Tumblr, and they didn't like the ship that this person was roleplaying as. Like, again, we were young, we were teenagers, but
I'm trying real hard not to judge, but go ahead.
No, judge, go ahead and judge. I wasn't into Voltron, and I
Role-playing
wasn't
as
into
Transformers. Decepticons, Transformers.
I know. But
What? That's not a truck.
erotic
That's not a truck.
Transformer.
Is that your tailpipe? Or are you just happy to see me?
I don't know how it actually worked. I never looked into the, how the Transformers fandom was getting their rocks off, frankly. But that was like a thing. And then, like, I think that
RC.
kind of the what?
It was all about RC. I remember RC. The one female Transformer.
I'm gonna stop you both because I want to know. I don't want to know a lot about this. I really don't. I want to keep my innocence. But
But what I'm saying is that kind of like cancel shit was like, I don't know. I almost feel like it grew up on Tumblr and then it spread like a disease everywhere. It was awful. It was terrible.
Fandoms are why our political discourse sucks.
Well, and just to kind of jump in there on that idea.
One last thing, then we do.
People forget that a lot of this kind of dark age of the internet that we're talking about, where there was all these things. This was kind of the wild west of the internet. I'm old enough to remember when there wasn't internet, not in any major capacity anyway. And this was kind of the wild west of the internet, where everywhere was just 4chan, and it was trolls abound everywhere, and chat rooms, and people did crazy unhinged things because it was the internet and anonymity existed and there were no rules. And the social contract didn't exist. I mean, this is the time period where people were on Xbox 360 yelling slurs at each other and telling them how they were going to fuck their mom, And so it was just a different time period. And we can't really judge that time period and those actions through the lens of our modernity, even though it's only 10 years. But I mean, we all know internet cycles.
Okay. Yeah, it's not modernity. Man, this was like 10 years ago. It wasn't like the ancient days, right?
Which like, was still pretty, but I mean, that was still like, canceled online.
Well, but I mean, 10 years isn't as short a period of time as people think, because people change very, very drastically over a 10-year period. 10 years ago, I was kind of, closeted and kind of anti-gay because of the environment I grew up in, and now I'm very, very liberal, comparatively. And so a 10-year gap is a long time, and especially with like media cycles online, even. And so the thing is the internet is a different place today in a many, 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 many different ways than it was 10 years ago.
You aren't wrong.
And
you aren't wrong about that.
I mean, there's a reason why we call people Tumblrinas and Redditors and things like that. And it's kind of that kind of behavior is broadly frowned upon online. Whereas 10 years ago, it wasn't. It was just everywhere.
But people don't forget, because while 10 years may be a short time when it comes to, or a long time, it really isn't. It's a short time in most people's life. They don't forget. I don't forget the things that happened to me 10 years ago. I just don't. I process them. They still stick with me to some extent, good and bad. But yeah, this is a lot of people are looking at what happened and how they were treated when they were canceled for what they felt was mild shit. And in many cases it was, right? Like, who the fuck cares if you roleplay Voltron wrong? And they are, we're feeling the effects of that. But thank you for calling in, Chrissy. And I hope you have a wonderful day, okay?
And just one last thing, Wick. I have to say, this is the first time I've ever had you on a larger screen, and you have a very nice beard.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And have a great day.
Thanks.
very nice. It's not trimmed or
Mm.
anything right now. It's kind of bushy, but anyway.
You know what's
I like
funny?
compliments.
10 years ago, I was trans. I was on testosterone 10 years ago.
Did you have a nice beard?
Nope.
Oh.
I never I wasn't on it long enough to develop much facial hair. Plus, my dad and my brothers don't grow facial hair.
Yeah, doomed from
Baby
the start.
faced.
Doomed from the start. Well, let's bring
I
on
know.
the
Damn it.
next contestant on whatever this is. Hello.
Hello. Sorry, I had to mute the stream first.
It's okay. What you got?
Well, I wanted to call in. I wanted to talk about the news actually, because I know you and I are both ex-Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
I am the Utah flavor. You are the Pennsylvania flavor.
Well, no, I was the military brat flavor, but fair enough.
No, still the not Utah flavor.
Yes.
So I'm very, very vanilla.
In the diaspora, let's say. But go ahead.
Yes. So yesterday was a lot.
Yeah.
Even not being in the Mormon church anymore, I still have family in the Mormon church, as I'm sure you do.
Yes.
And one thing that I and some of my siblings have noticed over the last couple decades is the culture kind of shifted a little bit in the Mormon church as far as warrior ethos has been kind of like adopted to become closer to mainstream conservatives, if that makes sense.
When you say warrior ethos, what do you mean?
I mean, so I know I'm about 10 years older than you, right?
I'm not
You're your
sure.
mid-30s?
Jenny, I honestly don't know how old you are.
I'm going to be 45 tomorrow, so
Okay,
but
so
like you're like
3
mid-30s,
years
right?
older than
Happy
me.
birthday.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were younger than that. Oh, thank you. I thought you were younger than that, but so I'm a few years older than you, so that there's not that much of a difference. But I know that where I grew up, just outside of, well, kind of not really outside of, it's not really a suburb, it's just kind of like a little town, just south of Salt Lake.
Okay.
And like I remember how shook up we were when we found out that anyone in the neighborhood was like in the armed forces or in the National Guard when the first, I want to say Iraq war, but more like Middle East war began. Operation.
Are you talking about Gulf
Desert-
War or are you
Desert
talking
Storm?
about Iraq War?
Yeah, the Gulf War.
The Gulf War.
Desert
So
Storm, I believe it
Operation
was.
Desert Storm, yeah.
Yeah. And to be fair, most of the people that were in the Army or in the National Guard, they were there as either interpreters or data transmission, stuff like that. They weren't like boots on the ground fighting.
Okay.
And like what we've noticed, like, at least within our family and community, that's gotten more aggressive. Like our sons and brothers are going into the army because they want to be Green Berets, not because they want to be in communication. Or they're joining the Marines because they want to fight.
Okay. So my issue is, well, my experience, at least growing up, is I grew up in a military family. So almost all the Mormons I met were military, right? Especially when we were stationed overseas. They were almost all military. So this warrior ethos that you're talking about, I haven't seen much of a change in it. But I haven't been to church in years, so I mean, maybe.
Right, but I'm talking about like just amongst the young men, especially young men, in the church. There's more of a, I guess you want to say, fighting spirit. More of a want to be closer to other conservatives that may not have more of a like.
So how I see it
I guess maybe like I kind of grew up in an area where we didn't really have a lot of fight in us. It was more about protection.
So
And now there's more fight plus the protection, if that makes sense.
I will say that growing up, I did notice a change in the Mormon culture, the LDS culture, right? The change I saw, however, was that when I was young, we were very distrustful of other Christian groups, right? Baptists,
Yes.
most WASPs, most Protestant groups, Catholics definitely. There was a lot of kind of standoffish. We didn't really want to get in bed with them because we weren't on the same path, right? Like, they were very political and we were very non-political. That did begin to change in the early 2000s to later, right? And that is one of the reasons I left, is because of this, what I saw as neo-orthodoxy kind of politicization of things that the church traditionally had stayed the hell out of, right? Didn't get involved with. And I warned everyone at the time, and I said, hey, these people aren't our friends. These Christian groups, that they, for some reason, the Mormons all wanted to join up with, right? And because they were so like just starving for other Christian groups to recognize them as Christian, right? That they were willing to ignore the fact that a vast majority of them thought we were worshiped Satan and we're in a cult and we're grooming children, right? For these weird sections.
I gotta use the bathroom real quick,
Yeah,
but I will say, growing up as non-denominational Christian Protestant evangelist flavor, obviously, we did think that way about Mormons.
And they still do. And people think like just because we're working with them or the Mormons are working with them on some political projects that they don't, that suddenly we're part of the team. We're not part of the team. Like, they'll never think we're part of the team. And I think that this shooting...
Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, go do your thing, Charlie. But this shooting, I think, is further evidence of that. They don't see us as fellow people, right? They see us as Satanists.
And it doesn't matter, like, I'm just going to say it. It doesn't matter that, like, with you and I, it doesn't matter that we've removed ourselves from the church, whether we've been excommunicated or not. We're still part Mormon. So we still have a little bit of that in us.
It's a culture. It's like we grew up with it, right? And so but Jenny, thank you. You're roboting out a little bit, not robot, but there's a lot of static now, so we're gonna move you out. But I do appreciate the discussion, and I hope that things. I hope you didn't have anyone you knew in that church, and I hope that you stay safe. Okay, Jenny.
But thank you. Yeah. All right. Have a good night.
You too. Yeah, but like a lot of people don't understand. Growing up Mormon, you were not seen as a Christian. We are. Mormons are Christian, right? But you aren't seen as a Christian because we're not creedal Christians, right? We're not Trinitarians. And so a lot of people who are don't view you as Christian and think you're a cult, think you're part of a Satanist organization that was sent by the devil to destroy the souls of good Christians and lead them astray. So violence against, again, as I said at the beginning, violence against Mormons isn't new, especially by other Christians, right? It's not new. It dates back to our founding, right? So this isn't shocking, I guess, that someone would think this. What is shocking is someone decided to shoot a bunch of us. That sucks. But yeah, that kind of mindset existed for a long, long time. Anyway, next. Hello, you're live.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hi, yes, what's up?
Yes, can you hear? Okay,
yeah, what's up? I could hear you. Yes.
All right, cool. So I think the really crazy thing about the shooting, and something I've noticed about a lot of the shootings, is how quickly people are just like racing to try to figure out what side it's on. And I feel like this is new because I don't remember this like in the older shootings, like probably from any time pre Sandy Hook at least.
Yeah, it wasn't really no one really used. I mean, there was some politicization of a tragedy. There's always been, but it is unfortunately getting worse, and people immediately, before the bodies have gone cold, are looking for any evidence that they possibly can find, and if they can't find any, they'll make it up to point the killer or whatever as on the other team, as on their enemy's team. And this we've seen, this has escalated. And unfortunately, one of the reasons it's escalated outside of social media, which is a big factor, I think the major factor, but another big factor, it's not the biggest, is that the administration's doing it. Trump's doing it now, right? Like Trump's FBI is engaged in this. The vice president's engaged in this. And again, not new, but it is at a level that is much more than was before. So that's what I'm thinking. Charlie,
Hello, I
welcome back.
return.
We're talking about the politicization of tragedy right now. But go ahead, caller, give us the rest of your thoughts.
So yeah, I agree with you that it's been politicized, but I feel like that was usually like about the guns and the NRA. It'd be like the NRA versus like the gun control people.
Yep.
But now it's where they just want to identify like the shooter themselves. It used to be that we all kind of accepted that the shooter was probably a crazy person. We would want to know why it happened. Like with Columbine, we had no idea why it happened and we wanted to figure it out. But no one was ready to like blame the opposing political party for it. Whereas now that seems to be what the first thing people want to do, which is I think really bad for
It
the
was always
environment.
mental health. It was always like either gun control or mental health. It was never political. Rarely.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, I think that's really, really bad. I think it's really dangerous. I don't really know how it's gonna get better either. So that's my take.
It's unfortunately, until that kind of behavior is punished socially and electorally, more importantly, you're right, it's going to get worse. Behavior that is rewarded is behavior that is repeated. And unfortunately, right now, that behavior is being rewarded. It is being used to push through policies and other things that the administration wants to do. So as long as it keeps being electorally effective, they're going to keep doing it. So the solution, unfortunately, and I don't know if this is going to happen, is for us to stop voting for people who engage in this behavior. I don't know. I don't see it happening, but I hope it does. Anything else for us? No? Yes? You're muted on your end?
No, I'm a frequent listener. This is my first time calling in, so
Well,
so I
thank you for calling
appreciate it. And Charlie, you made me feel really old with your Voltron is a 2010s robot comment. So I don't appreciate that, but
I'm sorry.
Don't
have a good
apologize.
evening, guys.
He's a caller. He's less than us. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Okay. Never apologize to them. They're not people. They're callers. Okay?
Right, they're callers. They're
for our
just voices.
True. For our entertainment, right?
Exactly.
To use as we will. Okay. I don't know the order of people, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try to get the order of people. Hello, you're live.
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes. What do you have?
Fantastic. Wick, I don't know if you remember, but I was the guy that contacted you about getting some firearms training. I am one of the two guys that trained Destiny. That was in the Destiny.
I vaguely
video.
remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been a firearms instructor for 20 years, military, law enforcement, everything. And a lot of people are talking about things are dangerous. People are scared. People are worried. One of the best ways to prevent yourself from feeling that never-ending constant fear is to actually be someone who can use the appropriate amount of force in order to defend themselves if they come under some sort of attack, whether it's in public or in private, loved one, perfect stranger, whatever it is. So the offer, Wick, still stands. If you want to come down to Louisiana and do some training, we're more than happy to have you out there. Charlie, I don't know you. I'm not a constant listener to Wick's channel. I'm not entirely sure who you are, but the same offer still stands to you if you want to come down and do some training.
What part of Louisiana? My grandparents live there.
In the center.
Oh, they're an hour north of New Orleans, so that's far.
What do you
Well,
think,
that's going
gang?
in the right direction.
I'll let the audience decide. Audience, should I go visit this guy in the middle
Intuitive
of Louisiana
Defense. That's the name of the company.
to learn how to use guns? Should I? One's in chat if you think I should go. Two's in chat if you think it's stranger danger. What do you think, gang? I don't know. Hold on. Could I stream this? Could this be like something I make content out of, I wonder?
You could definitely stream it. We have a Starlink out on the range.
Oh, nice.
So it kind of depends on the upload quality. Whenever you're out actually at the range.
I might make like I might just make it videos and then post it later, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I might.
Absolutely.
Think about it.
So we're in the center of Louisiana. I'm not going to give out the state,
Sure.
the city that we're next to, but we're next to a rather large city. We've got a rather large house for you to stay in, or hotels nearby for you to stay in if you rather do that and be by yourself. And we've got a on-property range, and I'm a firearms instructor for 20 years. My buddy is overseas at the moment. He's also a firearms instructor for the government for over 20 years. And so we can get you trained up in what you want to be trained up on.
Okay, I'm going to add you on Discord because it's a lot easier to get me, and I'm going to get with you later because I might just take you up on this just because it sounds cool.
It is cool. And basically the deal is we give you training in exchange for you showing our video, or actually it would be showing your video of you out on our range doing our training, and it's basically for free.
That would
You know what
be...
I mean? So if you have a large enough environment, then we can get some promotion out of it. You get the training, and then you can be a badass.
Hell yeah. Well, more badass than I already am, sir, but fair enough.
True.
Okay.
We have a similar beard, so yeah, we're both quite badass.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later, man. Thank you for calling in, and I'll keep in touch. I'll see you later.
All right, man. Awesome.
What do you think, Charlie? You wanna team up with me? We can be gun buddies maybe in Louisiana and go shoot some bad guys. And by bad guys, I mean targets.
That'd be pretty cool.
Maybe.
It would depend. I could potentially do it. I'm gonna go see my grandparents again in December. So it'd be after Christmas. So this could potentially be arranged. I don't know where you're located, Wick, but
Well, we'd go to Louisiana. So
well, yeah.
we would both have to get there.
Yes, we would go to yes.
that would be the thing.
Right.
It would make for some cool clips. I've seen your intro clips for your show, right? Where you
could be me with gun.
Yeah, you could have one. You could add the gun clip, and there you just like unloading.
Yeah. I have some videos of me online of me shooting guns, but I don't often do it.
I haven't gone to a range and shot in a long time. But it might be good for a refresher. Let's bring on the next contestant on whatever this is. Hello, you're live.
What's going on, big dog?
Oh, living life. What's up?
Oh, just calling to see. So first off, I'm not so sure. I don't know much about this Charlie person. This is honestly the first time I met you. So nice to meet you.
Hello.
Wick, I know Wick. He's a swell chap, right? So here's the thing. With Mormon shootings, that's not why I'm calling in. I'm gonna piggyback along with the panel you did with Erudite, and listening to that panel gave me the realization that there cannot be a path forward without reconciliation of what's happened, right?
What do you mean by that? Reconciliation with what happened. So what do you mean? What are you referring to that's happened, and what do you mean by reconciliation? Let's start there.
Just the rise of in general, the rise of populism, but particularly right-wing populism, because left-wing populism isn't a problem yet. It can be. Believe me, it can be, but right now it's not that big of an issue.
Okay.
Because they're very loud, very, dreamer. But he really has political power at all because he doesn't even believe in the system. That's what most left-wing populists. That's kind of the thing. They don't believe in the system, right?
Yeah.
Right-wing populism is we do believe in a system, just not this one. We want ours, and we're prepared to do anything to get it. Right.
Okay.
And so with that panel, I've been hearing this, and it bums me out. But now it's beyond bumming me out. It's baffling when when Erudite asks. First, you guys make way too many concessions. All right. I mean, I understand the point of it, but you make way too many. It starts to grate on me. I'm leaning further and further to Destiny's position every day. Because it's well argued, even though what he's asking for is extreme. He makes excellent points that cannot be contested or contended with, and that is whenever
You're roboting out. Done, it's hard to understand you.
Would you? Oh, that.
Your connection's bad. Uh-oh.
Wick is DDoSing you.
It's true right now.
Mm-hmm.
How about now?
Right now.
Is that better?
Yes. What do you got?
Oh. When Erudite asked him, even with everything Trump's done, would you still have voted for Kamala? And he said no. Even though he's fully, and this is the polymath or whatever, right?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I just heard that too many times now. It's almost like the straw that broke the camel's back on. That's the reconciliation, is what I'm talking about. That slight avenue right there of you know what? I was completely wrong, and I was completely hoodwinked, and anyone would have been better. It's like he can say that, but not Kamala, but not any of the candidates, not any. It's like,
so
it just feels hope. And he's reasonable. He's a reasonable guy.
Here's the issue. I don't need him, okay, to go back in time and change his vote. He can't. What I was trying to get at, and eventually kind of did, and not as much as I'd like, but again, if you think that he's going to change his worldview in one sitting, I don't know what world you're living in. Like, that's just never going to happen. These are conversations that need to take place over a long period of time, right? Not just come on a show one time, have a discussion, and say hallelujah, praise Jesus, I'm now a DNC shill, right? That's never going to happen. But
no, it's not even that. No, it's.
But the concession, hold on.
It's not even. It's not.
The concession we did get, or to such as it is he'd vote for Josh Shapiro, a moderate Democratic candidate, and I'll take it. Cool. If that's what he wants to do, cool.
I'm not focusing on that panel. What I'm focusing on is the sentiment, right? That panel was just an example of the sentiment of, you know what? Even when you find never Trumpers, they'll still say, yeah, but Kamala was bad. It's just like, well, what about in comparison to Trump? I think I've only heard, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Counterpoints is the only one that's agreed.
Well, Counterpoints didn't vote for Trump. So.
Well, no. Contra, who is it? What's his name? Former Marine, former cop.
Counterpoints. Yeah,
never Trumper.
That's who you're talking about.
Counterpoints, right. Right. And
yes,
he voted
he's
for Trump, you said?
But he voted for Kamala because he's never Trump.
Well, right. But even still, it's like that, with Polymath, where he said, like, no, I still voted for Trump. I know people like this. They say the same thing. They say, like, Trump is a blowhard. He's an ignoramus. He's borderline fascist, and like all this, that, and the other. However, it's better than Kamala. And that is what I'm talking about with the reconciliation. There has to be some kind, because we can never truly move forward if we can't agree on baseline. Was this a bad idea? Where it
I feel
matters,
you
and
on
that's at
that
the ballot box.
frustration. Because at some point you have to consider, like, I've just kind of, not to be, I feel a little bit black-pilled in the sense where I'm just like, these people are either too stupid or too evil to work with. And it makes me want to give up on them. Because it's
and that's
hard.
that's my point. That's where I'm coming
Yeah.
over. I'm coming more to Destiny's point, where he's just where the root message of what he's saying is, these people do not want it. They do not want to work together. They do not want, what they want is to just tell you to shut the fuck up and sit in the corner and let us be in charge of things because trans people. And like, or some other stupid, pointless thing. And then now they're just so bought in. They're just so bought in. They'll just be like, well, if Trump says Tylenol gives you autism, I'm going to trust him.
So, a couple things. If we go the route Destiny wants to go, we will never win another election. We just don't have the votes. There's more of them than there are of us. You're going to lose every single election, every single time. Yes, you'll get to stand and say, well, at least I didn't cuck out or give any concessions. It will be very cold comfort as Republicans rule for the next 2,000 years. So
Sure,
that's
but
point one.
would
Okay,
you
point
rather
two.
would you rather
Point
die
two.
would you rather
Point
die
two.
with your sword out, or
Point
would you
two.
rather die as a slave?
I'm looking to win, not to die. Okay? This false dichotomy that you guys present, that if it's either we go hard on the paint and start texting edgy tweets and just never talking to them again and being very, very edgy, or we lose, is just not in the cards. We can win through what I call the Wick method. And what is the Wick method, you may ask? The Wick method is, well, first, do no harm. Don't make fun of dead kids. Don't make fun of assassination attempts. Don't celebrate assassinations, right? Don't do any of that. So that's step one. Step two, find the people who have at least some willingness, even if they're not willing to admit on camera, on stream, that they made a mistake, some willingness to, in the future, vote for a Democrat. Find those people, or at least conceptually might vote for a Democrat. Work on those people over the course of the next 2 to 3 years and make sure to point out all the bad things that Trump is doing and concentrate on that. And we will win. That's all we got to do. That's all we have to do. But I am a little black-pilled because none of you seem capable of doing that, and I don't know why.
Well, because Wick, the reason is this is your solution is, it feels very kumbaya and pie in the sky.
It's literally how elections are won and have been for the last, my entire life, basically.
I know, same here, but it's a different landscape. It's a different environment. Trump is like what it feels like is saying, you know what, send good vibes to get rid of the cancer. And that you don't fight cancer with good vibes. You don't.
Or what are you trying to do? Give them radiation?
By understanding where the cancer is coming from.
Are you? What do you like? What is this analogy? Do you want to give them radiation? What do you want to do here?
Well, yeah, they need to be excised. That's what I'm getting at. Like, it needs to be, but it can't be. It can't be. Well, it can't be this.
Excised?
And
how?
That's okay. Here's the thing. So for one, I don't know. That's kind of the moral of the story that everyone has been saying is, I don't even know how we get back, right? And that's why I'm getting more black-pilled and heading more towards the Destiny camp of, it feels like this. You remember that there was a meme a while back. It was like, as the guy standing as a centrist, and it says right-wingers, left-wingers, and he says, both sides have a good point. And then the left-winger pushes him over to the right. The right catches him and says, are you okay? Right, you know that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
The issue is, the centrist in the middle that says both sides have a point. Because I don't know how we've gotten to that point where when RFK, who is clearly not well in his mind, clearly, right? When complete grifters like Tulsi Gabbard ran on fuck Trump and now is Trump's the greatest thing ever, right? Like his whole cabinet is just sycophants and people that are either held hostage and terrified of him because they don't want their careers to be over with, or
Okay.
they're actually buying into it.
No, I agree. All that's bad. I agree.
It's not bad. It's deadly. It's beyond. It's beyond
Well,
bad.
here's the
Bad-
thing. Here's the thing. Okay, and I see black pill is what they want. They want you to black pill because when you black pill, you think nothing matters. We're not going to try anymore, and you stop. So don't black pill. I know it's easier said than done, but here's some hopium. People are running away from Trump, specifically from Trump's policies. He's the most unpopular president in the first year I think that there's ever been. Even on his strongest point, immigration, he's underwater in approval ratings right now. The economy is going to be so trash that people, the voters, centrists, whatever, will punish the party that is in charge during economic failures. This is what will happen. So my prediction right now, unless something drastically changes, I don't think it will, but you never know, right? We sweep the midterms, we win back the House, we win back the Senate, and in 2028 we will take the presidency, the White House, I should say. If nothing changes. Now, again, there's a lot of years between then and now, and a lot of people could do a lot of stupid shit, and Democrats are famous for snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. But all we got to do, and I want to be very, very clear, be normal, and we win. Just be normal. Please. Don't go the destiny route. Don't black pill. Don't give up. Don't decide to excise, whatever that means, all the Republicans in your life. Just be normal. Okay.
And honestly, like, you can also just take a break. What I did after the Charlie Kirk stuff and I saw all the insane anti-trans rhetoric, just take a step back, take a break. If you feel yourself like spiraling, just close the internet, close the apps, step back for a bit, give it some time, breathe.
I live in one of the reddest states in the country. There is no taking a break. Okay. It is everywhere. It is in the workplace. It is at the grocery store. It is everywhere. Okay.
Why would you do this to yourself? That's awful.
Well, because my family's here, and
okay.
so yeah, like my children are here, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm Wick's age, grandpa. So I look a lot better for the same age, by the way.
Cam up. Cam up, motherfucker. Right?
I don't got that.
You can't say that and then stay off of Cam, okay?
I look a lot better than Wick.
Here, hold on.
Like
Charlie does look a lot better, okay?
Hold on a minute. Let's
okay, see, no beard, auto fail. No beard,
hold on
auto
a minute.
fail.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's see if it kicks in here. Hold on.
No, we can see you.
Okay. See?
Yeah.
Hey. All right.
Hey.
I got minimal gray. All right.
Okay. Well, that just makes you less distinguished, sir. Okay. That's all.
No,
I'm saying.
you look like Eric the Red's half retarded Santa Claus at the mall.
I look like a Viking. Yes, that's true, and that's
okay.
hot
You
as
both,
fuck.
skin wise, you both look the same age. It's just that Wick has a beard, which makes him look older.
And it's white.
Half white.
It's grayish. Okay.
See, and I got that half Mexican rolling in me. So I mean, like,
Oh, don't say that too loud. ICE will get you. Okay.
Yeah,
I know.
careful.
Fortunately, I'm not naturalized. I'll brag my birth certificate and my parents and be like, look, I'm second generation. Like it's.
I
Yeah.
hope that helps, right? They're talking about, and they say it's a joke, but I don't know if you saw the Will Chamberlain tweet where he's like, let's deport Hassan. Let's deport Mehdi Hassan, right? Hassan Piker,
Yeah.
Mehdi Hassan, and
people
I forget
born in the
guy.
U.S.
But
yeah,
like all these people are citizens, and this.
Well, not Mehdi. Yeah.
No, Benny
You know the
Hassan's a
most
citizen.
No, I said born in the U.S., but he was born in London, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he became a
But
citizen.
he is a citizen.
He
Yeah.
went through the
Sorry.
process. He got his citizenship. He took his oath of citizenship. He's a citizen. And these people are just casually talking about deporting and denaturalizing citizens of the United States. It's not a joke. They would if they could, and they will try to do so. And I want people to recognize that to your point about Trump bad, yes, this is something that they're actively striving to do. They're striving to amend or repeal the 14th Amendment for this reason, right? They don't want birthright citizenship. They don't want any of these things. They want to be able to denaturalize their enemies. They don't care about the Constitution, and they're acting like it, and they're blatantly saying that this is what they're doing, and people, again, whether they realize it or not, are just basically running cover for them. And there is a good side and a bad side in this. The Democrats, for all their flaws, right, and believe me, they are the only choice that has any hope of saving our Constitution and saving America. They really are. Trump and MAGA is destruction. And everything you love, your jobs, your families, everything you have is at risk with Trump in the presidency. These are just facts, right? This is just things I'm saying that are true. You can look up tariffs and what they're doing to the manufacturing base in America. You can look up everything that's going on in the global stage, right? And America is retreating into isolationism. You can look at the economy in general. It's not good, gang. It's not good. You can look at the free speech attacks by Trump and the Trump administration every single fucking day. Yeah, I don't know. All these things.
I got you, Wick. I agree, but this is where I get blackpilled is you can say all of that, which is objectively true. And the only response you'll get from a Trump supporter is, well, it's better than Kamala.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Enough soft MAGA voters are going to switch because of all that. That's like, I see people in chat saying, well, I thought you said don't get blackpilled, right? This actually, again, is evidence that we are going to win. And I wish it wasn't so, that we had to go through it and we had to play touch the hot stove, right? But yeah.
Oh, this isn't the hot stove. The Constitution. This is Frodo throwing the ring, and Frodo is Trump, and the ring is the Constitution into the fire.
But,
like it'll be long. That's my greatest fear. My black pill is that it'll be long gone, but before this time runs up.
It's a race.
And honestly,
I'm also kind of worried about that. That like there might be, because I feel like it's going to take so fucking long to repair. I mean, the shit that's already been done.
The few months he's been in power, it feels like 2.5 years.
Yeah, just real quick, one last thing, because we do got a line, and I do want to cycle and make sure I get.
You skipped me twice, motherfucker. All right, when you're all like, I'm following the order.
Skipped you twice? You've had a long time. You're okay. Last thing, sir.
Go ahead. I'm letting you finish. I'm
asking, like, what last thought?
Oh, I think I want to believe you, but my intuition is telling me that the Destiny approach is honestly, it's overboard. Don't get me wrong, it's overboard. But I think the spirit of what he's saying is true. His application is not true, but the spirit of what he's saying is true.
The spirit of what he's saying is true. You sound like someone who's, you sound like a Trump voter who's saying, well, Trump's saying is obviously wrong and it's not factual and it's never worked, but you got to look at spirit of what he's saying. It's directionally true. That's what you sound like, man.
No, what I'm saying is...
This is what you sound like.
No, what I'm saying is he's right when he says, oh, you're right, guys. We should have apologized one more time. Just one more. And then they would have treated us as equals. No, that's
just one more edgy joke, bro. One more edgy tweet. One more edgy joke. One more calling them all a name. And then suddenly we'll get it. No, man.
At this point, no, dude, there has to be a healthy dose of fuck 'em.
You could just
my recipe does not leave out fuck 'em. But it directs the fuck 'em at the administration and not the voters.
But this is the problem. The voters are the problem, and I'm not saying that lightly. And I'm not saying that accusatory. What I'm saying is, con men are going to con. That Trump's a con man. He's going to con people. That's just what they do, right? The problem is how much support it's garnered. Like
Okay.
half the people in this country genuinely believed in this guy.
Well, they voted for him at least.
Well, okay, but they're prepared to see this
No,
obviously fourth grade intelligent level person say stupid things and still be like, well, it's better than Kamala. Whether they fell for the propaganda, whether they
So
fell
just
for the marketing,
I think
again,
you need to start viewing these people as like as stupid as children. And that helps because like the average American is pretty dull and
I try to
not
take
clever.
as an atheist, I try to take the Christian approach. What did Christ say when he was dying on the cross? What did he say to God?
Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Yes.
And that's how I maintain my friendships in my incredibly red state. All right. The problem is this isn't just one person dying on the cross. This is everyone. The choices affect everyone.
Well, look, you can't stop them from voting, so you got to make sure that you convince them to vote the other way. Thank you for calling in, buddy. I'm going to talk to you later.
All right, dude.
Like this idea that we can excise them, it's the same kind of thinking that people had was like, oh, just kick them off the internet and they'll go away, right? Just ban them and you won't have to see them anymore. No, they just
they festered.
They didn't go away. They didn't stop believing what they were believing. They didn't stop thinking what they were thinking. They simply had no one pushing back against them, and so they got further radicalized, and here we are. Look, a lot of what's happening now is the ripple effects of the things that have happened years and years ago, right? With the 2020, 2010s council culture, right? That's going to be with us for a while. It was such a bad idea, and I said so at the time, right? That's going to have, unfortunately, a lasting effect on our votes and on our politics. And it's not going to be good for the Democrats, unfortunately. We should have pushed back harder against that, but we're here. And look, MAGA is going to have a desultory effect on Republicans for years as well, right? Like, I meant it when I meant what I said. The voters are fleeing from Trump's policies. They're fleeing from MAGA right now. And we're going to get to a spot, right, where there's going to be a lot of people who are just fed up and they'll stop and they won't maybe admit they were wrong. I don't really require them to. All I require them to is to vote for the other guys in the midterms and in 2028. And I think they will. We do have to stop excising them, though, and we have to convince them. So that's my thoughts. Let's bring in the next contestant. Well, whatever fucking show this is. Hi.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hi. Hello.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
We're here.
It seems, man, there's a lot of black pills going on. I hate to come in with a downer, but what do you think should happen to the families of these mass shooters we've had, or shooters in general, political assassinations? We've got the Charlie Kirk shooter, ostensibly
What do you mean, what do I think
this...
should happen to their families? Unless their families had anything to do with it, nothing.
Well, what if they did?
Look, if they helped them plan it or whatever, obviously there should be legal ramifications, etc. But if they were just like related to the person, why should anything happen to them?
Yeah, it's not a crime.
It's not a crime to be related to these people, but I think it's interesting that, I don't know, man, I just find it very difficult to believe these shootings happening in a total, complete vacuum where nobody saw anything coming. And I would love some kind of scrutiny. I would love the same scrutiny on these people that we should probably also be placing on the FBI itself or any other government organization that tries to keep these people on their radar. And often reports after the fact, yes, we were, this person was on our radar. I have this sinking feeling or this pit in my stomach about the amount of constant surveillance that we're under. and none of it seems to ever help or even give us any kind of information or any closure afterwards. Like, all right, we've got the left-wing shooter, we've now got a probably right-wing shooter going after the Utah shooting, or sorry, the Mormon church shooting in Utah yesterday. What are we getting out of this surveillance state, if not at the very least a little bit of closure of like, hey, these people were involved. These people were not necessarily, these people were surrounding this person, molding his identity, molding his persona, and it seems like we could identify some kind of ideological through line for these guys around him. So, like, what do
you mean molding their person? Like,
you mean like 4chan, or like, because I feel like the FBI is already monitoring like online radicalization, but family? I feel like most of these people just grew up with access to guns.
I do not want to be held responsible for some of the shit that my family gets up to, okay? I should not be held responsible because I am not for their shit. Some of my family did some really bullshit shit, okay? Bullshit things. And I'm not responsible for that. Like this kind of esoteric, kind of vague, well, they shaped them. What does that even mean? Here's the thing. I can say a thing. I can say a thing or treat someone a certain way, but how they respond to what I say and how I treat them can vary wildly depending on if they're fucking sane or a mass shooter, okay? Me saying, have a nice day, can be taken as an attack and has been. I remember getting in trouble at one of my jobs before the military because the person I said, have a nice day to, took it as like me being smarmy and reported me to my manager, and I had to answer for that. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm still salty about it.
That's what I'm saying. We should know who that guy's family is. That's
no,
what
I don't think we should.
Made my case. Yes,
I don't think we should know who their families are. As long as their families weren't involved in the planning or the execution, why is it our business?
People are not only molded by their families; they're affected by, like everyone in their life.
Groups, right? Or anti-LDS groups or something like that.
We don't know.
LDS rallies, supposedly.
We don't know what he's been to or been involved with yet.
I would like to know, honestly. I think if you get to that level of terror, that if you're, and I've been saying this I'm saying this now as somebody who went on your streams over the Charlie Kirk stuff and said a lot of radical extremist shit about the shooter himself. I feel obligated to now point that gun in the other direction towards this guy. I feel like we should know who these groups are. I would like to know, who was this guy with? Who was he near? Who was he in contact with? And did any of these people... Sure, they don't bear responsibility for pulling the trigger necessarily. Obviously, they don't bear responsibility for that. But gosh, if he was in touch with other people who held the same beliefs, I would like to know who those people are, or I would like to where those people are. Right? It doesn't have to be. We don't have to dox them necessarily.
I mean, yeah, the FBI is going to do that. Like they'll interview family members. Well, yes, they're not going to tell you unless it's, relevant.
But they shouldn't. Let's be real.
Unless it was me who
the
did it.
Public does not need to know all the person's relatives or associates or contacts, because all that does, it doesn't help anyone, right? All that does is it creates these weird conspiracies surrounding these things. So look, if you want to do your own little investigation, whatever, okay? We obviously have his Facebook and we have his socials and you can go look at them. But to expect that either the police or the FBI or any investigative body has a duty to report all the information about their associates with you, I just reject that.
Why not? The ADL is part of the FBI's training data, and they go off and they classify different groups as being extremists or not extremists and catalog and profile their beliefs and integrate it with the sort of promise-style architecture that underpins all the data held by these different intelligence agencies and law enforcement agencies. I feel like I feel like regular Americans should be able to benefit from it. If the feds seem to benefit from it, if they're allowed to maintain these databases of our information, I feel like that some of that should be released
the
publicly.
problem is that we live in a. The problem is that there are crazy people out there, and we live in a country with very easy access to weapons. Now, I'm not necessarily anti-Second Amendment, but the fact of the matter is that someone could try to go on a revenge killing or something like that, you know? Like that is a very real possibility, and I think that we have a responsibility to not endanger random people's lives just because they were related to someone who did something insane.
I'll also say this, right? On the idea that the government or the FBI gets to keep a database and have access to things that the normal person doesn't. So this is less true now than it was 4 years ago or 3 years ago, unfortunately. But in normal times, the FBI also are more accountable than the public is. So the FBI and cops and police in general have a different standard than the normal person does. So if they misuse or mishandle this excess information, this access, right, they are punished in a way that a normal person wouldn't be. Doxing isn't illegal, for example.
But they are.
But if you mishandle at the FBI's database and you misuse it, you can be held responsible. At least they had something in the military for that, right? I don't know. I've never worked in the FBI.
Yeah,
right?
that's never been applied to the feds or police ever.
Hold on, the police have
immunity,
been held accountable all the time.
No, absolutely not. Qualified immunity means they get away with a lot of bullshit.
That they shouldn't, but to act as if the police don't get held accountable at all.
To act as if they have a higher standard than the average American citizen, when the average American citizen does not benefit from these broad sweeping protections that the police do, is asinine. I'm sorry.
There are things that you cannot do as a member of some of these organizations that if you did as a normal citizen, you'd be fine, right? You are not subject to the same level of accountability. Now, again, Trump's administration has changed that, unfortunately, in a worse way.
No,
but,
if you look at like Ruby Ridge or Waco
right?
or something like that, like this is what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, I feel like that's kind of been the status quo. Maybe that's where this is coming from. I feel like I've always been under surveillance, right? I got to get my tinfoil hat. Keep that radiation from coming.
They're only watching you, buddy. They're only watching you when you masturbate. Otherwise, they don't watch you. Okay, see you later.
Did you just kick him out?
Yeah.
After you said they're only watching when you masturbate, that's hilarious.
Just doing my part. What's up?
Mm-hmm.
You're muted on your end.
I do kind of agree with him though I do think that cops get away with a lot.
They
do. They shouldn't. I mean,
but
on paper,
that isn't like what he wants to do with that information is he wants to make sure that the public has all the access to all the information, which is not going to make things better. It's going to make things much worse. But go ahead, please, caller. Give us what you got.
Hey, sorry about that.
You're okay.
Wanted to go back a little bit before that guy hopped on, just to kind of go over this whole like crazy divide we're going on with like take the shooting, for example. I think the problem's even worse than just like we're looking to blame a particular party before finding out the truth. I don't think half the people are going to accept the truth. Like they come out, this guy's like crazy MAGA or a crazy communist, and I don't think the side that that's against is absolutely going to just be like, oh shit, yeah, he was one of ours. Damn.
I feel like most of us on the left, like I was resistant to Tyler Robinson being left wing because I was like, well, it's fucking Utah. And the left usually doesn't, I don't know, it's not a lot of, gun havers on the left. But now that we know that he was most likely leaned left, I mean, I admit it. Everyone else that I see, they admit it.
I see it being a lot more reasonable, like especially on the left right now. I don't think for 1 second that the MAGA crowd is going to eat that at all. If it comes out that any of these guys, like this guy who shot up the Mormon church.
To be clear, there's a few who have, right? I've seen a few accounts say, yeah, he probably was on the right and from everything we know. But you are correct in that there is a subset of both political parties, and I think the subset's much larger on the right, to be clear, right? That no matter what the actual info is, they're never going to, you're right, they're just never going to accept it. We saw the evidence of that is they're actively manufacturing, okay? They're manufacturing evidence with the Photoshop and all that to paint a picture that just isn't true with this guy, right? They are actively covering up any evidence that he is right-wing at all. And they are doing so blatantly and publicly, and they're just lying about it. The FBI spokesperson thankfully deleted his tweet about it, but he still tweeted about it. And so now there is a subset of people who will just always believe that that's the narrative. They'll always believe that the photo with him in the Trump shirt is fake, when it's not. It's demonstrably real. But, you know, that's the world we live in now.
Yeah, we've built too many parallel realities we're living in, and I don't know how we're supposed to bridge them, at least online. I don't think it's possible to do it online. I think you have to do it offline with people you know in real life.
That is the best way to do it. And it's something that it takes more than a conversation. You have to actually be trusted by them. You have to be their friend, frankly. And you have to work with them over years. And I'm not kidding, years, in order to kind of really change someone's ways of thinking and their habits and their worldviews. Unfortunately, that's a lot harder to do now because so much of us stop interacting in real life and we're only interacting on our fucking phones.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it a lot harder of a process for quite a few reasons. There's just more distractions out there, more voices competing for attention. So yeah, it is hard, but it is doable, and I want to make that clear. You still can.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunately those of us who are more Democratic aligned right now, who I think it's actually kind of an Achilles heel of our side of the aisle to be a little less willing to engage in that disagreement with like your uncle or your brother or somebody, yes. And it's rough.
It is one of the problems that has led us to where we are, and this is true. Well, thank you for calling in, caller. We're gonna let you slide on out and have a great day. Okay, we're gonna speed run some of these because it is getting late. And gang, hold on, I got some super chats. I did make a little money. Okay. $10 from $5 from Old School to say the ICE shooter had ICE agents. Look at his picking up paychecks comment. Stop lying. We don't know the motivation of the church shooter. When did we lie? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I don't know when we lied.
$10 from Alexander Wynn to say you have podcasters running the FBI in defense. We already saw that one. $10 from Old School to say anti-Mormon animus is ancient in this country and bipartisan. It sucks because they're very nice people. Yeah. I mean, again, where the people who call us the Antichrist and Satan are generally religious people, and they generally are on the right. But again, we have no evidence that political bias motivated this shooting. We just don't know. $10 from Alexander Wynn to say Dan Bongino, Department Director FBI, Graham Allen, Department Director of DOD, Kash Patel, Director of FBI. What do you expect from such a lineup of people who grew up in a culture of professionalism and secrecy? No, they were podcasters, and they were like social media influencers, and they were all these people who, again, aren't qualified for the job, but they have it.
Maybe we could get a job in the next administration. Yeah. You know,
no, I don't
just
want
be
that.
Like influencers.
Look,
that they no, we're so unqualified. Wick, it would be exciting. We could just destroy the country.
If for whatever reason things get so bad that they are electing me as president of the United States, okay? So if I ever, for whatever hellish reason, get elected to be a president of the United States, one of my rules for my administration is that if you have ever been a streamer, you can't work in my administration. It's just
That's
a rule.
fucked.
No, look. I'm just saving the country.
She can never, because she streamed Among Us that one time.
No, again, going on a stream doesn't make you a streamer. I'm talking to people that have a podcast, right? The people who have a channel, like me, right?
And me.
Yes, and you. But that's okay. We'll have some non-governmental organizations we can have you run, Charlie. Don't worry.
Okay.
$5 from Richard Long, 69, to say, ego on these Dems. Quote, my policy is perfect and everyone else is a problem, end quote. Policy is 75% of y'all's problem. Bro, if you think people are voting on policy, I don't know what to tell you.
They're not. It's vibes.
Like, and this goes for everyone. Left, right, center, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Almost no one votes on actual policies. And that's just where we are nationally. $5 from Gelatinous Rube to say, love you guys. Great show. Well, we love you too, platonically. $10 from Time Watch to say, you are looking at, quote, working on them, unquote, all wrong. We don't need to pursue them to move them in the correct direction. That always turns people off. We need to be cooler so they want to come to us. Man, look, if I'm working on someone, first of all, that gives them attention. They like attention, okay? It's not a turn off when I do it. Maybe a turn off when you do it because you're creepy and weird. But trust me, if I give someone attention, they generally like it. I don't know. I think Charlie's probably the same way, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, actually, conservative men seek me out frequently.
Oh, yeah?
Because they want to argue with me.
They want to fix you? They think they can...
I think they want to fix me, but I think they secretly want me to fix them.
Deep down,
I think that's what they really want.
To save them?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
So that they can get girls.
You know, I think... Look, honestly, it just may be women's fault at the end of the day. You guys rejected them in high school, and now they have chips on their shoulders. All you had to do was take one for the team, be nice to them, let them take you to dinner, and maybe we wouldn't have this problem. But look what you did, Charlie.
I was dating girls. I'm sorry.
That's part of the problem. You were turning them down. Okay?
That's right. It was all the gay shit. Damn it.
All the gay shit. $5 from Gelatinous Rube to say, I will happily hire y'all for my administration when I run as Dem super Australian political figurehead redacted in Texas. Hit the like button. Yeah, sure. Hit the like button, gang. You're live. What do you got? Muted on your end.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can now. What's up?
Hi. Okay, so you've been talking about, or you have been pulling like right-wing people into the panels to kind of have discussions about like what should we do about like extremist violence and what should we like, how should we approach people and like how do we calm stuff down, right?
I've had a conversation or two like that, yeah.
So, do you like? How likely do you think it is that in some of these cases, some of the people that you're pulling on are just coming in to like spin your tires? So, for example, if someone comes on to like a discussion about like violent rhetoric, and they just deny that it's happening when it obviously is. Specifically, I'm talking about on the right specifically, but like, do you think that like that amounts to like a bad faith actor that is just there to waste your time or our time?
Where are you from? I like your accent.
I'm from Alabama.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, obviously there are some people who just come on to waste my time. That happens, right? There are trolls, there are people who have no intention of ever being good faith and things like that. That occurs. I don't think that the recent conversation I had with Political Math and Eucharist and Not So Erudite, I don't think that was one of those people, though. I think that Matt is a genuine person. I wouldn't have brought him on that show otherwise.
So, like, for example, with the couple of weeks ago, I think it was like the week that Charlie got shot, you had a conversation with Destiny and this guy named like Gen Z Lawyer or something like that.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
So, like, that, you know, that's an example of someone that, well, that was an example of a conversation where you kind of had like the you know, Destiny and Dev talking about like this stuff's crazy, all this stuff is happening, like we need to change our approach. Like obviously just denouncing every time like isn't working right now. And then you have the other side being like, that didn't happen. Jan 6 wasn't really violent. Like, that was just a bunch of random people, right? Like, that kind of, like, when every single example of right-wing violence is like, it's not really right-wing violence, or like, it was kind of justified though, or like, it didn't really happen, or like, it wasn't like that kind of like refusal to denounce.
I don't think that's what Gen Z and Tolly did. Now, I will agree that Gen Z did not accurately.
Tolly did.
I don't remember. Maybe I'd have to go look.
So Tolly did not do that to my memory. Tolly was pretty quick to be like, yeah, that stuff was fucked. But Gen Z was pretty much just humming and hawing about all the facts, right? And it's the same rhetoric that we see from like mainstream right wing, and then like the Trump administration is like, every time we do it, it's either justified or we didn't really do it. And every time you do it, it's the worst thing ever. And by you, we mean like some random kid in Utah.
Yeah, no, I get what I understand the dynamic at play, and it's possible Gen Z again is. Look, streamer time 2 weeks ago is an eternity ago, so I don't remember 100% of that conversation. But I will say that even those kinds of conversations has value, right? You see how people act when they're confronted with facts that don't fit their narrative, and you see whether or not they're willing to accept those facts, whether they're willing, whether they try to ignore those facts, or whether they try to simply just counter those facts with nonsense of their own. So I do think that there's value even in having those conversations and seeing that kind play out real time. I do think that's a valuable thing.
I also think there's value in that, but to have that effect, you need to have a posture. Destiny had the posture in that because but he was also very dismissive of Gen Z because he was just like, yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about, and then kind of more talking to you from what I saw. But so with the I'm rough on the names. Who was the guy who was like y'all? Not Sarah Erda, and I believe you were gently pushing him on his Trump vote. Political math.
And Eucharist. Those were the two right-leaning people in that crowd. Yeah.
Okay. So like political math started that stream on Friday with saying like, Biden was super divisive, and this is why we're at right now. Does that ring a bell, or do you think I'm off base
that?
there?
I remember him saying that. Yeah.
So it's even when we're not sort of in this like confrontational posture, it's like, Biden's doing all, like, let's forget everything that like, Trump entered the political scene like talking about like he was a birther, which is unhinged, but we're gonna like worry about like the divisive stuff that Biden did. Like what did like I don't remember what he was saying was so divisive. It was like
the censorship stuff is what he was worried about. The censorship of pushing on YouTube and other things to censor various individuals, which, to be clear, was a bad thing that Biden did.
So it's I think I'm more with Pisco on that. Where like even if we can criticize it, it's like we're comparing kind of farting and shitting, right? Like they might smell the same, but they're not. You know what I mean?
No, I don't disagree with you, but when the purpose of the conversation wasn't to debate the guy, it was to figure out, again, the whole point of the conversation initially, as I devised it, was to talk with people who have political differences with me and figure out a way that we can see each other, even with those political differences, as human and human beings worthy of talking, right? Of being heard. And so that was the point. It wasn't to litigate who did it worse or anything like that. So I think maybe people, because normally I do debate shows, so I don't fault you, right, for thinking that was a debate show, but it wasn't.
I recognize that it wasn't, because I caught the beginning of the stream where you specified that it wasn't a debate show, and then I saw him kind of hop on and get all these pot shots in with little pushback. And then when kind of it started to push on him, he started to be like, oh, this isn't a debate. I'm super fragile right now. Like, you're hurting my feelings. Like, it was this sort of gently offensive posture from him until it got flipped with Uridot. And then it was this, like, this isn't a debate.
Kind of?
Yeah. Like, and I say, so crybully, I think, implies a level of, like, social abuse. I don't think that was happening. It was just this, like, I'm going to kind of push my narrative a little bit, and then when you kind of try to push your narrative, I'm going to kind of get fragile, and that's kind of so that was like so with that happening, and then the last one I really watched was with Destiny with the Kirk shooting. It's like it just seems like you keep kind of pulling these conversations, which is like let's talk about turning the temperature down, and then sort of one side is seemingly like trying to take advantage of that in a way that just does not constitute a good faith conversation to me. At the same time, this is like, you know, with Tolly, she says something to the effect of like, we shouldn't lower ourselves to the standards of the right wing. And it's like, but you voted for it. Like, don't lower, like, I need you to be a higher standard than the person I voted for is insane. And so it's like, it seems like every time I'm talking with like a Trump voter, it's like, or every time I'm watching people talk with a Trump voter, there's kind of this like, I don't know. It's like, so, you know, when people talk about like excising, I don't, unless we're like going to be in a very like confrontational and very like strong posture to be like, hey, I need you to answer for this. Like, let's not move on until we can like if you want to bring up Jan 6, like we need to go through the whole thing every time. Like it seems like they're not here to turn the temperature down. They're here to like advocate their position.
So, Gen Z was there to advocate his position because that was the point of the show, right? Like, it was a debate. I don't think that political math's goal was that, but I could be wrong. Again, I haven't had much interaction with him, but I didn't get that sense. Again, he did say things that I disagreed with, but no shit. That was the whole point, right? Is I'm going to get people who I disagree with and talk to them and not debate, but conversate. But I think it went well. I think he enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and we could have perhaps more debate shows with him in the future. That we'll see if that will happen. I don't know. But thanks for calling in, brother. I do appreciate the perspective. For now. Bye-bye.
Cool accent.
You like Alabama accents? I can't do accents.
I don't get to hear southern accents very much. I just think that they're really fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed his accent. What did you think of what he said, though?
I do kind of get it, because it does kind of feel like I have a really, really hard time talking to people that don't view January 6th as an insurrection and act like it wasn't that big of a deal, because it was a huge deal. And it's like, it's I don't know, it stresses me out, because I'm like, oh, well, if we can't even agree on like what feels to me a basic fact, I don't think that's how do we move forward. I can at least admit that I do think that the left did have like some control over what was allowed to be said on social media. That was absolutely a thing. So again, it's frustrating. And it almost feels like we do have to concede too much, and we do have to walk on eggshells almost with the right, because they're just eager to find
I don't think you do. I don't think I was walking on eggshells in that conversation either. I don't think Erudite was walking on eggshells in that conversation either. Now, there are some people that are just fragile little babies, and you figure out who those are real quick. Like Rob Knorr is a very good example of a fragile little baby, okay? Who can't, as soon as you give him the energy that he gives you, he will crumble. But I don't think Matt was like that at all. The Pulse for $5 just says the Alabama guy is 100% on the money, and that's a frustration. Thank you for the $5. But no, I don't feel like I've been walking on eggshells, right? This is the same criticism, ironically.
And honestly, that they would give to us, right?
Yeah, no.
Yes.
That I get with regards to Destiny. People who are very anti-Destiny are very frustrated whenever I have him on, because I won't like constantly just litigate every single wrong thing he's ever done and every single thing we disagreed with ever, even if it has nothing to do with the topic at hand. In their mind, I can't have Destiny on without doing all of that, right? I have to every single time. Otherwise, I'm doing something bad. And it feels like I'm getting a
Yeah.
similar criticism, ironically, from DGG, when I bring on a right winger on, that I have to litigate every single thing that the right wing believes that is not true, and if I don't do that, right, then I'm doing something wrong, and I just don't. That's not usually how I talk to people or have conversations or interact with.
It's always gonna be like that. I get whenever I do debates, if anyone there is even anything short of being like a socialist, they're like, why are you platforming these people or interacting with them? Like,
It's insane.
Bitch, grow up.
Another ironic thing, actually, about the conversation with Erudite, Matt, and Eucharist is Matt's his pushback when I talked about, like, hey, why don't you work with the moderate left more? His answer that he gave almost 1-to-1 matches Destiny's answer of why he doesn't take the right seriously or won't work with the right or anything like that. He's like, I've gotten nothing out of it. Nothing but scorn has come from trying to work with the left. It's never worked. It's never helped. Nothing's gotten better. So why should I do it? And it felt like I was listening to Destiny, honestly. Which is, again, it's a mindset. And I don't think they realize that they have the same mindset, right, going into these things.
Yeah.
And it's not helping anyone. It's not fixing the problem. It's just making everything worse.
I agree.
We got 2 more callers and we'll close this out. What's up, brother?
Oh my god.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Hello?
Yeah, what's up?
Screen.
What do you got?
What I missed? I was spazzing out in chat for a second, and then you got on other callers, and my anger mellowed out because I can't stay angry to save my life.
Okay.
But I did write what I wanted to say down. So first things first, did you read that thing I sent you? I put it in a Google Doc like you asked for.
Yes, but it's been a while, so I forgot it. But I did read it.
Okay. I appreciate that. Second, you keep saying, like, if we do it the Wick way, we're gonna win.
Yes.
And that'll be good. Winning elections isn't enough. I'm sorry, it's just not at this point.
But it's the necessary start. It's the bare minimum.
If that were true, 2020 would have been the end of MAGA.
No, because you have to keep winning elections. You can't just win one and everything
That's
is good
and
glorious for the rest of the time. You have to continue to win elections. But it's easier to do all the other necessary things if you've won the election, right? Like, it's much harder to do. In fact, you cannot do a lot of what needs done if you don't win election. So that should be the first step, right? The 12-step program, you got to go in order. I think that's step 1. Maybe not step 1 because you got to convince the voters, etc. But it's one of the early steps. That's how you get things done in America. You win elections. So anything beyond that, I mean, we can get there when we get there. We can cross that bridge when we come to it. First, we got to win.
Okay. What's step 2?
Well, what do you think needs to be done? I'm just curious. This is your thing.
I'm asking you because you.
Sure. I think I would write some legislation, not executive orders, but I would write some legislation really paring back the power of the executive branch. I would want that codified into law, that the executive branch can't just make up emergencies and send in federal troops to cities. I think I would prevent the president from being able to bring a civil suit for defamation against media companies and things like that. I would, or make it much harder to do. There's a whole host of legislation that I would pass that would, or seek to have passed, that would limit the executive power and put a lot of the power back into the hands of the legislative branch and the states and localities.
Okay.
And put a term on the I think on the judiciary branch,
well,
like have the Supreme Court justices. I think that they should have term limits.
They should.
But that's what
Biden's
I would
suggestions are
do.
based.
Second step. What would you do?
I'd agree. All that. We should do all that legislatively.
Cool.
How do we fix the rhetoric, though? Like,
Well,
do you think any of that is going to fix the issue we're having with the right, or prevent like
no,
another Trump
it
rising up in the
won't.
future?
It won't. But here's the thing. I think that there will be a realization, and I think it'll come quick, especially if we win, that type of rhetoric may work once in a blue moon, but it doesn't. They've
been saying that since 2016, Wick.
It worked twice in the last 10 years.
Okay, but that twice was winning the presidency, and now we're in this situation.
Okay, but it lost them legislatively, in Congress and things, which is again why when we win, we need to put more power into Congress, right?
Okay, that's perfect. Because what I'm saying is winning isn't enough. They won in 2016. Everyone was like, oh shit. And we got our shit together long enough to win in 2020. And we did a bunch of good shit legislatively. Everyone agrees. Biden was based. But in that 4 years,
we didn't do what we needed to do with regards to temming down executive power. We did do a lot of good legislation for the economy. We did a lot of legislation for our manufacturing base and things like that.
And that should have been enough to win the election, right?
No, why would it?
Because good legislation should be convincing.
Okay, but remember, people don't vote on policy, they vote on vibes. Okay?
Exactly.
Yes. But the vibes now
we win in
are bad for them. The vibes are really bad for Team MAGA. A lot of people are looking at the economy and saying, this shit sucks. We thought it would be better. A lot of people are looking at ICE and what's going on there are saying, this shit sucks.
Yes.
We don't want this.
I agree with you.
We're going to win in 2026 as long as things keep going.
Win in 2026 just like we won in 2018.
Yeah.
And then we're probably going to win in 2028.
Yeah.
But then in 2032, what if another, I know this won't happen because Trump is Trump. What if another Trump just wins again? Because people, like last time, forget.
We gotta keep being convincing. We gotta keep pointing out the wrong things that the right is doing. We have to keep, again, harping on our policies work, theirs don't. This is why. We gotta, again, drive it into the rhetoric that they lie and we don't. But in order to do that, we can't lie, right? That only works if we can reduce the craziness on our side to a certain extent, right? To keep it a bare minimum.
I do want to bring up the fact that, like, random people on the left being crazy and people on the right being crazy doesn't mean that, like, the right and the left are overall crazy. The issue that I'm having is that, like, right-wing politicians are being insane while left-wing politicians are being very lukewarm.
Yes.
Very relaxed and calm about a lot of these things. Very, like, we denounce all violence. And then the right is like, we need to do something about these trans Tifas, Like, it's like they're getting... And it's rough because it's not just crazy people on the internet. We can't control, left-wing people on the internet. You can encourage, but there's not much we can do, whereas we can, in some capacity, pressure and punish our elected officials by saying we won't elect you again if you keep saying bullshit like this. Do you know what I mean?
I'd agree.
Wick.
So, my issue is that I understand it's annoying, but I don't think it's... We do need better rhetoric, but the rhetoric of being more like MAGA isn't the way to go. It's not.
I'm not advocating for that.
Yes,
Nobody's
you are. Like, in effect.
Wait, you don't speak for me? I speak for me.
Okay,
I'm not advocating for that.
Hold on. No.
No,
you don't get to decide what words mean.
More like MAGA.
Hold on.
I'm
you don't
not
get to
advocating for that.
decide. You don't get to decide, right, how people view what you say. You don't.
What do you think I'm saying?
I think that you and a lot of DGG are saying that we need to, when they go low, we need to go low too, and we need to get them, right? We need to make sure I got tagged in so many posts saying that I needed to make sure to emphasize that the church shooter, right? The church shooter guy was definitely MAGA, and this is what the right-wing rhetoric did, and this is how the right's fault, and this is all the right-wing's fault. And they were like, we need to push this narrative because MAGA pushes this narrative every time there's a shooting and it's someone even remotely on the left. And my answer to that is I refuse, because that would be wrong. I don't make things up, and it might turn out that this guy is on the right, and it might turn out that this guy is right-wing. But until we know, right? And until we know that's what motivated it, why would I say something that I don't know is true?
You know what? I agree with you. That is a perfectly reasonable response. I wish Trump could do that when it seems like the guy might be on the left. And
you know what? Yeah, I wish too, but he won't. But that doesn't, again, dictate my behavior.
That's a problem.
It is. I agree. And I say so all the time. I don't know if you watched the first beginning of the show where I called out all the people lying about this attack on the right who are trying to paint over any kind of evidence that he might be MAGA or might be right-wing, and they're basically lying about it. And the Trump administration, at least the FBI spokesperson, is lying about it. I called them out on it. We spent a whole segment on it. I did that. I've done it, and I will continue to do so. But me saying that there are lines I won't cross, okay? There are things I won't do, and I won't be like my enemy, because the enemy is doing things that I feel are evil, and I will not do evil to stop evil.
I guess what I'm trying to say, in essence, is I don't think fixing this, I don't think winning elections fixes this the way we want. I think this is a problem that we can fix electorally, but we also have to fix the rhetoric along with it. On both sides. I don't think that's crazy to say.
Okay, yes. I agree that we need to do better rhetorically. I just disagree with how you guys, at least DGD, seems to want me to do it. I think that that's going to make things worse, not better. I think it won't work, and I think it will simply make it will feed into the right's paranoid delusions in a way that will make it
I'd like to point out, I haven't said anything about Destiny.
Okay, but not in this stream, but I see you talk in my Discord. Okay.
A lot. All I advocate for is I just want the right to deal with reality.
Yeah, that'd be great.
This was all to deal with reality. Yeah.
Thank you for calling.
Why didn't you?
What else?
I had one more thing.
What's up?
Oh, I was going to say winning elections is a band-aid. I thought that was a rather witty line, but I forgot it because you didn't pull me in fast enough. How dare you?
Okay, I'll talk to you later, man.
Talk to you later.
Last caller. What's up?
Hey, is audio okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Two things. Question for both. What should we do with the FCC?
I think we should either abolish it entirely or make it clear that they can't, to take out any kind of wording that happens to be in the regulations around the leaning of content, like the political leanings of content. We just need to take all that and strip out their power to even influence it. They haven't for a while. It's been years and years and years since they've exercised this power. But obviously, what we thought was a norm isn't going to work. And so we just need to either abolish them entirely, which would be my first choice, or second choice, reword their, or make it illegal for them to mess with broadcasters' content or base their decision on their content. Make it explicitly.
I could agree. Yeah, I could agree with the getting rid of the politicization of the FCC. But we cannot get rid of it entirely. They do a lot that people don't realize. For instance, they regulate dimmer switches, because they interfere with Wi-Fi. They regulate cable companies because if there's damage on a coaxial cable, it can leak into the air and interfere with cell towers and airplanes. There's a lot of airwave regulation that they do that is extremely important to modern society.
Okay, that
but yes,
I don't have a
It doesn't.
problem with that.
Yeah.
but we cannot keep that if we abolish the FCC.
Well, neither of us said that we should abolish the FCC.
I did.
You did?
I did say we should abolish the FCC. Charlie, you're not paying
Oh.
attention. You're not listening.
My bad. You talked a bunch about like changes
Wow,
that
you
should,
just don't.
that should be
Okay,
made to
I
it.
learned
My
something
bad.
today. I learned something today. I can say something very clearly, and you will just ignore what I say because you're not listening.
You talked a bunch about like changes that should be made to it.
Just don't listen.
So
to me.
I don't know. My brain forgot that you said that other stuff because I was like, yeah, I would agree with those changes. Those are good.
For the record, I agree with the changes you're pushing for. I agree with those, but we can't throw out the whole thing.
Sure,
I think we need the FCC for like standards on TV. I think it's good that certain films and albums, media will have like, this is for adults.
Oh yeah,
this is
ratings.
not for adults. Like that. Like I feel like that's pretty good.
I don't think that the FCC needs to be in charge of that. I think that could be given over to broadcast networks and things like we already have kind of a low enforcement of these things, and it's been getting laxer and laxer, right? You used to never be able to hear shit on TV except for once or twice. Now you can hear it all the time, right? So I don't need it. I don't know if we need the government regulating that stuff. I think the markets will do it.
That's a fair point because we have the internet, and it's a parental decision, I suppose, if you want to push it that far.
But when it comes to the maintenance side of things, fair enough. I'm very unfamiliar with all the maintenance work that they do. That's true. And if the FCC is necessary to maintain as basically making sure that broadcast channels don't like throttle our internet or something, right? Or fuck with each other in weird ways. I think that's fine.
There's a lot of weird physics waves interactions. It sounds kind of tinfoil hat if you're not familiar with the industry, but they do a lot of important things. That's the main thing I wanted to say about that.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling.
Second thing I was curious about is accountability for the current administration. Assuming we win in 2028, should we push for some form of accountability on at least some people?
I think some of these people got to go to jail.
Yeah, if that's got then yeah, straight to jail.
I agree. That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay. See you later, man. Straight to jail if they broken a law.
Straight to jail.
Straight to jail. Now, here's a question. There is going to be, and this is my worry, is there is going to be a lot of people who want to do a lot more than what we should in terms of revenge. I feel like we are in a cycle of revenge where the right's willing to excuse bad behavior by Trump because they want revenge on the libs for all the bad things the libs did to them, real or imagined, right? And after Trump loses, I think that there's going to be some who are on the left who are going to push for revenge, right? Not justice, but revenge. And I think we need
that there'll be a minority because I do feel like I feel like the left the Dems right now are a little bit toothless. I just can't imagine. I feel that perhaps we've learned a lesson. I hope we've learned a lesson that like the cancel culture shit did not work great. And also, I don't know, just as far as like punishment goes. I mean, they should have made it impossible for Trump to run after January 6th, to be honest. That was negligence.
He should have gone to jail for his plot, the Eastman plot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That should have been jail time, but unfortunately, we can't go back in time and fix that. I wish we could. But I do think that we need to be careful that in our pursuit of justice, it doesn't become revenge. And I know that there's going to be people on the right, no matter what we do, who are going to try to paint it as that. But we need to be clear-eyed, stop letting them dictate our actions, stop letting them dictate our reactions, and start just adhering to the principles of the Constitution, justice, and liberalism in general. And we need to apply those, pun not intended, liberally, right? And we can't be afraid to be politically divisive about prosecuting people who have broken the law.
I agree. I mean, I think maybe amnesty for those who
admitting mistakes. I will admit, before Trump got elected, I was like, man, even if they broke the law, I don't know if it's a good idea to go after them through the judicial system because it'll just be divisive. No, that was a mistake. I made a mistake. I misjudged the situation. The right has unfortunately shown me the error of my ways, that no, they're just gonna be maximally divisive on purpose, no matter what we do in that regard specifically. And I think that we should have simply, again, prosecuted the people who broke the law, instead of pussyfooting around with it. We should have immediately, not waited. Look, again, the Biden, the DOJ under Biden waited too long to prosecute Trump and the rest for the January 6th stuff. They should have done it
immediately.
Yes, as soon as possible. Not waited for midterms, not waited for the next election cycle, but they should have done it immediately. But, unfortunately, they did not. Okay.
And now we're here.
Is there anything you wanted to bring up with me, or anything you wanted to talk about, or anything?
I mean, I could talk about this stuff at length, but I also have a debate in 30 minutes.
Ooh, fun. Who are you debating?
I don't know, an ortho bro and a chud. I'm debating with the soy pill on the Raging Tomato. It's the abortion one.
Oh, fun. Enjoy that.
I won't.
I'm not going to watch. I'm going to be real.
That's okay. I agreed to this. I agreed to this when I was, visiting family, and I didn't really think too much about it. I was like, yeah, this will be fine. And then I was like, oh, fuck, what have I done? Why did I do this? Damn it.
That'll get you every time.
I know. I should have used my head a little bit more, but we'll see how it goes. It'll be fine.
Right. No, you'll do good, I'm sure. Give him hell. And thanks for co-hosting. I hope you enjoyed it a little bit. And yeah.
I did. Thank you for having me on. I'm sorry if maybe I should have been more divisive.
No, you're fine. It wasn't this was just a relaxed Monday call-in show to kind of get ready for my week. So
love that. Hell yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Before we go, one thing to my audience. Well, two things. First, if you like the stream, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Throw me some super chats. Did I miss any? Let me make sure I got through. I did miss a couple. I missed one, actually. $5 from the Pulse to say, I think Wick is now purposely not understanding what people are saying. Right-wing politicians saying crazy stuff versus random left-wing is the point. The Pulse, I've understood you. I just disagree with you. I know what you're saying. You guys have said it enough. I get the point. I just disagree. That's not me misunderstanding, but thank you for the $5. Second thing. Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm looking for 2 people on the right. Well, it doesn't have to be on the right, I guess. But people who disagree that Trump is using lawfare right now. I need people who think that the indictment against Comey was good. And if that's you, and you want to debate Pisco and Dev, hit me up. I need people, okay? The people I had bailed on me, okay? And I need more people. So hit me up. Send me a DM on Discord. Send me a DM on Twitter. Something. Last words, final words from Charlie?
I think guns might be the problem. I'm pro Second Amendment, but I think maybe we have too much access to guns, and and I don't know. This keeps happening, and I'm scared. That's all I have to say.
Okay. I'll talk to you later, Charlie. Check her out, Enemy Charlie. Yeah, and check out her debate tonight if you want to hear a debate about abortion. Okay.
If you want your brain to bleed, yeah, come.
I'll talk to you later. Wait, bye-bye.